Very good. So it's 9 o'clock and we're knowing here at Ranken for getting started on time. So we'll go ahead and start because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I realize people have places to go and things to do. So again, welcome to each and every one of you. And thank you for joining us here today. My name is Don Cole. I'm the president here at Ranken Technical College, and we're honored to host today's event here. I want to start by thanking our expert speakers and panelists for participating in this important discussion. Today, we'll hear from education, industry, and workforce development leaders with unique expertise in manufacturing. I'm excited about today's event, and I know for a fact that you're in for a real treat. So I promised I would stay away from statistics, because they told me to stay away from that, but I can't help myself, right? Those of you who know me, I can't help myself. I've got to share at least one here. So according to a recent Gallup poll, a whopping 92% of educators, chief academic officers, college presidents, people like me, believe college grads are prepared for the workforce. But only 11% of employers believe college grads are prepared. So, that's a major discrepancy between educators and employers, right? And that's a problem. That's a real problem. So here at Ranken, we know we have two customers. Of course, yes, our students is our customer. They're paying for great education. And we've got the best students in the world. Are there any Ranken grads out in the audience? Go ahead and raise your hand. Very good. Welcome back, and thank you for being a great Ranken grad, right? And representing us well. However, more importantly, industry is our customer. If we are failing to provide the comprehensive education and training necessary to prepare our students for employment and advancement in a variety of technical career fields, then we're failing our mission, and we're failing both of our customers, right? The students and industry. So I'm super excited for today because I do believe you get the best product and true economic development when you bring education and industry together to provide real solutions. So in speaking of great industry partners, I see many of you out there. Thank you again for joining us. Of course, one in particular that's with us today is Toyota. Toyota's been a great partner to Ranken in so many, many ways. I can't even begin to mention. But specifically, today, we get to welcome Todd Williams to the stage. So Todd has a unique perspective on manufacturing because he has seen it all. And what I mean by that, so Todd began his career with Toyota in February of 1999. For the record, that's not that long ago. I remember 1999. So joining the company as a production team member in the assembly department at Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Indiana. He was promoted to team leader in assembly production before moving over to assembly pilot. In 2004, Todd transferred to Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Texas, to work on the Tundra startup as an assembly production group leader. Within a few years, he was promoted to assembly manager with responsibilities for assembly, pilot, and maintenance. In 2014, he was assigned to support the Tacoma new model launch as the Tacoma plant pilot manager. After the new model launched, Williams rotated to human resources as the human resources development senior manager, overseeing talent management and staffing. How many human resource people have we got out there? That's a whole new level. I've got great respect for all of you. That's the department that can't have friends, right? So it's great respect for HR. So of course, by 2018, he was promoted to group manager, taking on the body weld and stamping departments. As group manager, he was responsible for production, engineering, and quality, and maintenance in both body weld and stamping. In 2021, he rotated to Toyota, Tennessee, where he served as group manager of manufacturing and was responsible for overseeing daily operations at the plant. So fast forward to today, Todd Williams is president of Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Missouri, and Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Tennessee. As president, Todd is responsible for all manufacturing and support functions at Toyota's aluminum casting plants in Troy, Missouri, and Jackson, Tennessee. The two plants produce aluminum engine blocks, heads, and transmission cases and housing to support Toyota's North American manufacturing operations. Besides all that, he's all around great guy. I got to know Todd. I got to visit quite a few of the facilities, and it's a wonderful facility. So without further ado, join me in welcoming Todd up here. Todd?
Thank you. I don't know what else I can say. It's all been said. One second here. All right. Great. Again, thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here for this opportunity, just to talk a little bit about you guys and with you guys. And I just want to thank Ranken for the partnership. Truly, it's been a great partnership, and I really see it going above and beyond in the future for both of us, the benefits. So thank you very much. The value of manufacturing. Anybody ride a horse here today? Anybody make their own clothes this morning for the game or anything like that? No, I don't think so. So the value of manufacturing touches every facet of our life every single day. You know, from, again, the vehicles we drive, to the clothes we wear, to really everything, the chairs you're sitting in, to the podium. Somebody manufactured these items, and it's so vital to us. But honestly, manufacturing kind of gets a bad rep. Anybody ever heard that? You know, it's dirty, it's dark, it's kind of rough and tumble, you know, maybe not the best environment. You wouldn't want your kids working there, things like that. Sure, we all have. But with that stigma that goes along with that also prohibits us from getting the talent that we need to come and work in our facilities that's so critical to our everyday life. And that's one thing I want to talk about today. So, can you have a career in manufacturing? I want to share a couple of stories with you. One being my own, and then I also want to share one of our team members that's here with us today, Elliot, that works at our Missouri facility. So, let me give you a little bit of background. This is me. Now, Leah found this picture. I don't know where she got it, but they say it's me. I don't believe it. But I grew up on a farm in southern Indiana, and that's where I spent my life. I was a farm kid. You know, silly, goofy farm kid running around, doing that kind of stuff. But what I realized is that, man, I don't know that I want to do this forever from that standpoint. So I said, you know, after high school, I'm going to get an education, so on and so forth. And in order to do that, I had to pay my own way. And I got a job at UPS, United Cross Service. Many of you may know they hire part-time, and you can work there and you can go to school. It's a great situation. So that's what I did. So that's what I embarked on overall. And as I'm doing my thing, got married, had a couple of kids, so we're young, we're doing the life thing, and really looking for stability. And I got on finally full-time at UPS, and I realized pretty quick that the school thing, especially the 4-year, really wasn't for me, because I majored in everything but class, probably, and, you know, like some of us may have done. So, and I was paying for it, so that wasn't a good combination across the board. But Toyota announced, hey, we're going to build a plant in Princeton, Indiana. And I had a friend that actually got on there before I did, and he's like, hey, you need to apply. Well, there was 200,000 applicants and 2,000 jobs. What are the chances? But one night, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a Wednesday evening. My wife and I are cleaning up from dinner with our two young children. The phone rings. It's 8:36 p.m. and it's Toyota. And they said, hey, we'd like to offer you a production team member position. And at that point in time, our lives truly changed forever. So I started as a production team member, as Don mentioned, at Indiana in 1999. I had no idea what the heck I was getting into. Again, just a farm kid, and I didn't know anything about manufacturing. If you wanted me to change the oil or something, I could do it. But I didn't know anything about assembly line or anything. And you go into this facility, and it's shock and awe. It's massive, you know. And I remember vividly, we built our first engine from start to finish one day, and it took us all day. And I mean, we thought we were setting the world on fire. I mean, we thought we were the best of the best. You know, now they're building 600 a shift and things like that. So, you know, my mindset though, when I took the job at Toyota was, I don't know really what they want me to do besides, you know, build engines or frames or whatnot. But every opportunity that comes up, I'm going to raise my hand. And what do I got to lose? Because The worst they could do is tell me no, and I go back to doing what I was doing, and I still got a job and got benefits and all those kind of things. So that's what I did. I always had the raise my hand mindset. And as Don mentioned, by doing that, in 2003, they announced that we're going to build a facility in San Antonio, Texas. Anybody want to volunteer for that? There it goes. I can't stop it. It just keeps going up. So I raised my hand. I said, yeah, I'll do it. Never been to Texas. Everybody always heard it either bite you or poach you. And that's Texas, right? And it's hot all the time. There's 2 seasons, hot and hotter. And I can vouch for that. But so I raised my hand, and I didn't hear anything back for like 6 months. Well, during that time, I also didn't tell my wife. and our 3 children at that time. I failed to mention that. Hey, come on, guys. You know how it is. You know, we're guys. We just don't think about those details sometimes. So about 6 months later, they come out and they're like, hey, you're going to Texas. I'm like, hey, I got to go home and tell Sherry. So I go home, tell her, and she's always been super supportive. And in 2004, we moved our family to Texas. Oh, I better keep up with the slides here. Sorry, Leah. You're going to get mad at me. So that's the Indiana plant, and there's Texas plant. So literally, when I got there was Longhorns still on the ranch, and we were driving trucks out there and like herding these big cows around and things like that. So that's kind of, again, where the story goes there. And then as Don mentioned too, I'm in the assembly shop, running the assembly shop, and that's where all the action is. That's where everything happens. That's the vehicles put together, maintenance. If we stop, we don't make money, and all these kind of things. And then I kept raising my hand, but they kept saying, no, it's not time, it's not time. And I either thought, I'm either doing a really good job, or I'm doing such a bad job, they don't want to send me anywhere else because they're afraid I screw it up. But one day, the stars aligned, and they pulled me in a room. They're like, hey, we got an opportunity for you. I'm like, yeah, I'm going with plastics or body weld or paint or someplace really cool. And they're like, we need you to go to HR. And I'm like, I don't want to raise my hand for that. Why would I want to do that? The HR people are the people that I'm arguing with all the time about staffing and all these other things. But sometimes in life, opportunities come up, and you may not feel like you need it, but you really need it. And that's what happened with me. So I spent, again, about 4 years in HR, and I had responsibility for staffing, talent management, and really building a development structure to take our team members and show them clear pathways on how to be successful through our career working for Toyota, from team member all the way up through our senior manager division. And that's what we embarked on. And honestly, we built the best system in North America. Everybody goes to Texas to benchmark. I've actually brought it and implemented it in Tennessee. We're implementing it in Missouri. And it just gives team members a sense of stability that, hey, if I want this, I can raise my hand and I can go get it. And this is the way I go get that. So that was a great opportunity. But during that time too, not only did I grow professionally, but I grew more personally than I ever have in my 26-year career. And I think that's very important because you want to build skills inside the walls that apply outside the walls, and I think it's very, very important. So as my career continued to grow at Texas, so did my family. This is my wonderful family. Man, when you have a family like that, I look good even in there, right? So my beautiful wife on the left, and I have 3 daughters, a son, and that is when my grandma was still alive. She actually lived with us, so we took care of her. So it was very special to have that opportunity with that. So again, I'm growing professionally, family's growing, and then and I'm about 10 years out, so I'm a goal guy. On my mirror in my bathroom, I got little sticky notes, talk about, what's my 1 year, my 3 year, my 5 year, all this kind of stuff. I got a plan. So 10 years out, I'm like, I got to get ready for retirement. I definitely don't want to do this forever. Even though I love my job, I want to do other things. So I'm 10 years out, and I told our president at the time at Texas, was like, hey, I just bought about some land in Tennessee, and we're starting a little farm, and that's where we're going to end up long term. And I know there's a plant there. I don't know what they do. Never been there before, but if the opportunity comes up, let me know. He's like, it'll never happen, probably, but I'll throw your name in that. So literally 6 months, he calls me, top secret, hey, meet me outside, I got to tell you about this opportunity. So the opportunity, Tennessee comes up. So I go there, and I'm planting, and it's a small facility. It's about 465 team members all in, and they build the blocks in transmission casing housings for North America products that we build. Very special plant, very great people, love them to death. And I went there in September of 21. And really, the goal for me was not to be, I didn't know anything about casting. I knew it exactly. I went out there like, don't touch this, don't touch that, be careful of that, that'll hurt you, all these kind of things. And I'm like, okay. But that wasn't my role. My role was, how do I build a culture? From everything that Toyota's invested in me and developed over the years and given me all this insight that even though I didn't need at some point in time, I really did need, how do I teach them that? And that was my goal. And now that's one of the best casting plants in Toyota's fleet overall. From best safety in North America to best quality globally, and our operational availability is on the rise every single day. But people are happy because they're being poured into, they're being invested in, they're being developed overall. So with that, there's me on the farm. So I'm farming, doing our running the plant in Tennessee, and life's good. So in May last year, 2024, again, they asked him like, hey, we got another opportunity for you. You want to take over Missouri too? And I'm like, sure, why not? You know, nothing lasts forever. So that's when I started coming up here in really June of 2024, and this is our Missouri facility. This is in Troy, Missouri. And again, really, they're a low-pressure casting facility, and my job's not to be a casting expert, but it's to take the collaborative power of these two facilities, even though logistically challenged, 4.5 hours, 386 miles apart. How do we take the people of both, combine the best, go through a development cycle together, and become the best casting plant globally that Toyota has in its fleet? And that's what we're embarking on today. So a lot going on, a lot of great stuff going on at the plants overall. Oh, too fast. So the reason why I tell you about my story is because it's a little unique. You know, I didn't go the college route. I went the manufacturing route, and I did that for stability because I had a family, I had responsibilities I needed to take care of. But through manufacturing, it afforded me the opportunities that you saw on the screen today. You know, I'm so proud of my family. All of my kids have master's degrees. 3 of them were Division I athletes. So super proud of them, what they're able to accomplish through what manufacturing gave our family overall, and what Toyota poured into us from a development standpoint. So I think that's the key point. When you talk about what manufacturing can do for people, you have to link with the people, understand what the people need, pour into them, hear their voice, let them raise their hand, and let them take that journey, however that looks like overall. So now I want to shift gears a little bit, talk about someone much cooler than me, in a different career story. So at Toyota, Missouri, we have an equipment maintenance team member named Elliot Rich. Elliot's right here. He used to join us. Raise your hand. You can even stand up. Give him a hand. He's still in the work ethic, not going to make me stand up, but I can't do that. I like Elliot. He's a great guy, and everybody needs to know who he is. So Elliot joined Toyota in 2021. He had tried a couple of jobs out of high school before that, and really didn't find anything that really fit what he was looking for overall. One was a desk job, and I've got to know Elliot a little bit, and that wasn't going to work for him. It's too much sitting, and he's probably twiddling his thumbs, looking for other things to do. He's probably taking something apart and messing with it and stuff like that. And then he worked in a warehouse, and that got old pretty quick as well. And so he heard about the position at Toyota, Missouri, in Troy, and he thought, hey, I'll give that a try. The pay was higher, but that's always a positive, right? Everybody likes, more money. And it seemed interesting from the possibility of growth. He didn't know a lot about working in manufacturing, but decided to give it a try. Similar story, right? Didn't know a lot about what he was going to be doing, but he's willing to raise his hand, go for it, and maybe be a little uncomfortable and take a chance. Elliot started as a production team member, and within the first week on the job, he learned about Toyota's tuition reimbursement program. So we have a reimbursement program where we'll pay for some percentage of the school, which is really, really great for our team members. He was working on a production line. He was building cylinder heads for Toyota products like the Tundra and Camry. Anybody have a Tundra or Camry? There we go. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your support. Yes. Yeah, Elliot probably built that. Yes, you should thank him. better myself from career standpoint. And he thought the work that our equipment maintenance team members was doing was pretty cool, right? They're working with robots and they're pushing lots of buttons and making things do different things, and everything they tell me not to do, that's what he wanted to do. So with that, it was time for Elliot to learn and grow. So in August 2022, he started at Ranken Technical College. What a coincidence, right? Elliot was working second shift, which meant he could go to class at Ranken in Winsville from 8 to noon, and then he would head straight to the Troy plant, and when his shift started at 3, so he worked till 11:30, and then he would go and do it over again. So after school, he'd get off, and for the 3 hours he was waiting, he'd do his homework. Right? Again, sacrifice. Raise his hand, being a little uncomfortable. And he'd do it all over the next day. What's great about Ranken is that they truly understand the needs of manufacturing in the industry because they listen to us, the industry. Again, Don mentioned everybody thinks they're giving capable people to industry, but industry maybe doesn't have the same impression when they get those people in. But Ranken does. They listen to us, they partner with us, and they build what we need to be successful to the people. Now he's a valued member of our equipment maintenance team. He's 24. He's building a house. Who else is building a house at 24 years old? I'm living in a cardboard box with 2 kids and a wife, let alone building a house. So that's awesome. And he's also a preacher, which is very admirable. He leads a Bible study. He's thriving in a career that he can take as far as he wishes to go. One day he may be up here talking to you. And that's my hope for Elliot. He's always learning, and he knows that we're investing in him each and every day through development opportunities and different aspects. Elliot told me his favorite part of the job now is troubleshooting, and I love that because it directly contradicts the stigma of the monotonous manufacturing job. He faces new challenges every single day that he didn't face the day before, and he also has the reward of fixing those challenges and making sure that that one doesn't come back and get us again. So that's pretty cool. I think we can all recognize we need a lot of people like Elliot, as we in industry need to help them find their path into the manufacturing realm. Now, some stats here. I'm not going to share a lot, but globally, 44% of their employers estimate that the skills they need their employees to have will be disrupted by 2028. The next generation isn't ready to fill the gaps, and that contradicts what Don said earlier. This is a problem that must be addressed by all of us here, and there's no single way to accomplish the goal. Anybody got a crystal ball, magic wand, anything you can wave? If you do, let us know. I'd like to pay you to come out and let's do that. For companies, we must create opportunities to develop our own talent, find ways to be more flexible to provide opportunity, and use the resource partners like Ranken provide to help us. For example, how can we think outside the box to create a better work-life balance? We were having a conversation prior to this about work-life balance. What do team members need and what do they expect, and then how can we make that work for both industry but also our employees? And then basically, at Tennessee and Missouri, we recently changed our schedule over the last couple of years, and we went to a 4-10, 3-12 type schedule, and that was based off the voice of the team member. We actually sat down with every team member in our plants at a table, had some lunch, and said, hey, what's the problem? They said, too much overtime. I don't have any time with my kids, so on and so forth. So we developed a plan that works for us and them. And now, through this great schedule that we have, team members can work the weekend full-time, have benefits, and have opportunity to attend school at places like Ranken. So what a great opportunity. Another example is offering tuition reimbursement for our team members, like Elliot, to further their own careers in education. Our bigger partnerships, Toyota has been happy to work with Ranken through our workforce development services, where we can create a unique training programs together. They have been able to meet our needs, whether it's small, medium, or large, such as they quickly put together a 2-week course that allowed us to upskill some of our team members during work hours. Again, work hours, we were sending them there during work hours. The team members visited Ranken's West Campus to address small gaps in motor controls and advanced electrical. That was a huge benefit for us because we see those gaps and they were able to do it very quickly. We also co-designed and launched an internship program with Ranken last summer. The first participant in this program will graduate this May, and if all things go right, there'll be a Toyota equipment maintenance team member just like Ellen. We designed a 5-semester certification program in advanced technology that allows production team members to attend evening classes, get a company mentor, and put into practice what they're learning at Ranken. At the end of the program, these team members are eligible for promotion, and they can increase their salaries by nearly $10 an hour. That's huge. Again, a little sacrifice, a little commitment, being uncomfortable, and a great reward. Toyota's partnerships like this with local colleges across the country, they're under the banner of FAME, the Federation of Advanced Manufacturing Education. The key to these nationwide partnerships is rooted in the continued conversation between industry and education. Through FAME, local business, workforce development groups, and schools offer unparalleled apprenticeship-style training programs where participants can learn as they earn. Students gain top-tier technical expertise by integrating core manufacturing competencies, professional practices, and hands-on experience. So maybe I just want to touch base on that one too. So not only the skills, but professional practices. How many people get somebody that's really skilled, but they just don't know how to carry themselves? Or, I think that's the key point that we also have to think about. And when we're at the table talking about these things, not only teach us people the skills, but professional practice is very, very critical. Because you got to have professionals in your business, because if you're working close to one another and you're building relationships and those kind of things are so vital, so vital. This program ensures that with a 2-year degree, anyone can have a pathway to a well-paying career, and companies are able to hire team members who have skills they need. We're hoping this program can be brought here to Ranken and the Missouri area as well. The team at Ranken has been committed to learning about this program. They travel to our Indiana facility to watch. Now, I will have to put a disclaimer out there. Don almost got kicked out of TMMI. He kept trying to get online and build Highlanders, and they kept trying to pulling back. It was unbelievable. So they told me that, and I wasn't supposed to tell, but I thought I would share it with you. He's a go-getter. And they attended the National Association of Manufacturing Conference in Dallas, where they made a stop at Toyota's headquarters. We have a beautiful headquarters in Plano. It's absolutely gorgeous. But they were able to stop there and see that and take a tour of that as well. Let me pause here and highlight how much effort Don and Shannon have personally committed to understanding the FAME program and thank them for the efforts. Would you all stand up and give them a hand? It's easy to sit at a desk somewhere else and say, hey, this seems like a good idea, or look at some pictures or a PowerPoint slide. But these two have dedicated their time, their effort, their resources to what we call in Toyota is go and see. And that's where you truly understand what the heck's really going on, how do I do it, and what are the true benefits, because you hear from the people that it's affecting each and every day. And we're truly thankful for that sacrifice. Okay, so if you want to learn more about these programs, please come and speak with me or a member of our group that's here from Toyota. We have several representatives here. I think we can come together and build a FAME program in Missouri. You'll see that this will be a strong tool for building a workforce and a huge benefit for the St. Louis region, because we all know there are good paying jobs, stable jobs, that keep people in our community. These workers buy cars, which we like, buying cars, right? That's important. That's the most important. They buy houses, and they also support our schools. Which brings me to my next point. How do we get students interested in manufacturing and industry and in skilled maintenance? In Ranken, for instance, we must think outside the box and engage young people in our communities. That means going to career fairs, manufacturing days, having fun, engaging people, the elementary, the middle schoolers, making it fun, making it, excitement, get them engaged, hands-on, tangible, those kind of things. Let me give you a small example. Anybody know this guy? That's Albie. I can't believe people don't know. He's world famous. Absolutely world famous. Earlier this year, Toyota donated funds for a school in Lincoln County to buy 3D printers. The students there probably shouldn't be walking around our plant casting aluminum, but you know what? By giving them the opportunity to have 3D printers in their school, we were able to go and teach them what they're doing in their school, how it relates to manufacturing we're doing as well. So you can see in the background those little igloos and some other things. They made those for Audi, their class pet, the Gecko. In fact, the students use the machines to print accessories for their class pet, Gecko, Albie. Still can't believe people don't know who Albie is. One of our senior managers got to go and explain again the 3D printing and what they're doing, how similar it is to what we do in the plant. This helps the students, again, this is the tangible piece. This helps the students understand and see what manufacturing can be and how it can create something that solves a problem and makes it better for someone else, or of course, lose it. Acts like this help us illustrate the story of manufacturing. It's not only what it used to be, it's continuing to evolve, embracing innovation, new technologies that redefine our work and impact society. Manufacturing today is safe. Like I mentioned, we have the best safety record in North America in our plants. It's clean. It provides significant career growth opportunities, as we've seen with Delia. This is a picture of our Missouri facility inside. It's high-tech, it's fast-paced. It's a place where creative people can solve problems and they can thrive. Factory floors look more like laboratories with tall ceilings, bright lights, advanced technology, artificial intelligence, and collaborative robots. And beyond the work, it's the people. It truly is the people. We could have all the technology, all the robots in the world, but without the people to service them and to teach them, then they're useless, honestly, too, right? So it's all about the people. They build camaraderie online. They're part of a family, and that's something we really, truly embrace, is that family atmosphere. And you're working for a common goal. You're building the best cars in the world. It's an honor for me to be here speaking with you today on behalf of our incredible industry and ever-changing industry. I look forward to the upcoming panel as I hear there's some very, very smart people that's going to talk about AI, because I have known nothing about AI. I'm lucky I can even turn my phone on. But first, I want to recognize my team that's here with me today from Toyota. So if you're with Toyota, please stand up. Give them a hand. I just want to say, without these individuals, I could not do the job that I do every single day and support the team members like I do. Each one of them plays a vital role in some aspect. We also talk at Toyota about titles mean nothing. We're all team members. We just have different roles and responsibilities. And each one of these individuals have a responsibility and are pushing to continue to advance our ability to hire the right people, to provide great paying jobs, and to build a family atmosphere. I'm truly thankful for you. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them about the career growth, Toyota Missouri, or how we can create partnerships to meet our goals overall. And that's all I have. Thank you. Any questions? Nothing. This is like
you guys have such a good presentation.
No, I don't know about that. This is like my meetings at work. I say, anybody got questions? Or nothing, huh? Okay, well, it's afterwards. If you really want to talk to the people to know, the ones that stood up, that's who you want to go see and have those conversations with. But again, thank you for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we can work together in the future. Thank you.
So Todd, thank you so much. Again, it's always a pleasure to hear you talk about your experience, and I think that was a great way to our next discussion. And I'll say this, just to tell you what kind of guy. So go and see. I really believe in that. He's absolutely right. And I'll call out Catherine over there. So I work with Catherine pretty close, myself and Shannon, and she arranged for us to go visit TMM, Tennessee, right? Jackson. So I thought it was just going to be a visit. We're going to go there, and he's right. I was very excited to see the Highlanders and all that. And yes, sometimes I get a little bit off the tour route, but we won't discuss that. That was supposed to be it. So it gets to be lunchtime. He arranges a fish fry for the entire organization. Right, Catherine? It's a true story. He arranges a fish fry for the entire organization, and not only did he serve it, I think I'm convinced he actually fried the fish in the background too. So again, Todd, amazing guy. Again, I go and see, if you're ever in the area, talk with any of them. It's a great group of people. Everybody is so welcome out there. One more round of applause for Todd. And the entire Florida team. So my next task is to introduce our panelist moderator. And they told me I had to introduce Mark. How many of you know Mark Bowers? You know what? That's what I figured. I figured it's the easiest job I have because everybody already knows Mark, right? So what do I have to do to introduce Mark when everybody knows him, right? So for those of you who might have forgotten, Mark is the executive director of St. Louis Makes and a well-known workforce development expert in our region. Mark has over 20 years of business development and product innovation experience. He has worked with companies of all sizes, advising manufacturers on business growth, industry marketing, and more. And of course, if you haven't got a chance to check out St. Louis Makes, one of the coolest things that he does is he goes on tours. And I tell you, I've gotten a chance to see a ton of manufacturing facilities, cool manufacturing facilities, things that I didn't imagine, hey, this is going on right here in this area, on the Illinois side of the river and the Missouri side of the river. So I've enjoyed those tours. So without further ado, Mark, come on up here. I'll introduce Mark Bowers.
Thank you very much, Don. It's great to see everybody here. It's great to see so many people I know. It's great to meet so many new people. I just appreciate everybody for showing up. I have my notes here, so you'll excuse me for a second if I glance down at those notes really quickly. It says here that I am supposed to give my background, but I don't know what I can say that Don didn't already say. So, St. Louis Makes came about in the 2009 recession. I've spent my entire career in the manufacturing industry always on what I call the front end of the business. So that's all things sales, all things marketing. And in 2009, we had a recession, and I had a startup, and I scaled that startup to $3 million. So just to make sure that we're clear, all entrepreneurs speak, they're all bilingual. They speak a language, they speak English, but the second language that they speak is a language I call fantasy, and it usually applies to their financials. So when I say I had scaled that to $3 million, what I mean is I had your money, it was in my bank account, and I had purchased raw materials against contracts that were legally enforceable. So in 2009, that rug got yanked really quickly, and I realized that there were a lot of small manufacturers out there in the marketplace that had a lot of time on their hands, had really good technical skills, and did not have the same level of skill expertise when it came to strategy, when it came to sales force organization, structure, when it came to new product development. And so St. Louis Makes came about literally by accident. Fast forward now 10, 15 years forward from that point in time, and we're running off of an opt-in email address serving the industry region-wide that's now got almost 11,000 email addresses. Most of the work that we do is behind the scenes. Somebody will call one of us up and say, hey, I need to meet people that can help me learn about this, and we make discrete introductions. The only thing left that we really do publicly is tours, and apparently we're not allowed to say no when we're asked to moderate panels. So I appreciate you guys. So that's my background, and that's what got me here. I've maintained an ownership stake in some small companies, and as was said earlier, in my background continued to do work in the industry, always on the front end of the business. So I want to thank all of you guys for attending. I want to thank Don and Don's team for hosting. I want to thank them in particular for keeping all of us super well organized. I'm going to introduce the panelists. When I call out your name, I've got some bios that I'm going to read here. We're going to get you guys on stage. I'm also, just by way of making sure that we're all on the same page, I'm keeping an eye on the clock so that we stick to the timeline. And we're going to try and keep our answers to a couple of minutes each, and we'll make adjustments as we need to make sure that we're honoring that timeline. So the first person on my list that we have on the panel is Corey Matthews. Corey, if you could come up when I call your name. Corey is a retired senior global leader in aerospace with nearly 40 years of experience at Boeing. Today, Corey serves as the president and CEO of the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center, St. Louis, AMIC is what we know it as, an advanced manufacturing center promoting workforce development, research, and product innovation in our region. So we'll welcome everybody with our applause when we get done with the group here. So appreciate you coming up, Corey. Dr. Art McCoy. Art, if you could come up. Dr. Art McCoy, excuse me, is an internationally recognized educator and member of Ranken's board of directors. After starting his career as a mathematics teacher in the Rockwood School District, Art became the youngest and first black superintendent and CEO of Ferguson Florissant School District in 2010. Past positions include superintendent in residence and chief academic officer of the Mind Research Institute and the Center for Education Innovation in California, and superintendent in Jennings School District. Art is a two-time NAACP Inspiring St. Louisan, 2013 Superintendent of the Year, 2017 PBS American Graduate Champion, 2018 UNCF Keeping the Flame Awardee, 2020 Honorary Firefighter of the Riverview Fire District, and more. So I was slightly intimidated. Hopefully people didn't recognize how intimidated I was when I said, oh, he's a mathematician. I cannot screw up. So also my good friend Don Pohl. So Don, I think as you guys already know, it says here to tell you that he's a passionate advocate for technical education. That's a gross understatement, just to make sure that we're crystal clear. Don serves as president of Ranken Technical College, where he works every day to lift up the next generation of trade professionals and technical educators in the St. Louis region. Don has 20 years of experience at Ranken, serving as executive vice president for education, dean of academic affairs, information technology division chair, and as a computer networking technology instructor. I was trying to think how long I have known Don on my drive in here this morning, and the answer I came up with was, I don't know. It's been a long time. And also wanted to welcome my good friend Kate Sanders with Missouri Equipment Company. With over 75 years of manufacturing excellence, Missouri Equipment Company proudly stands as a fourth-generation, woman-owned leader in custom metal equipment, specializing in industrial solutions from food preparation and service equipment to hospital and laboratory sinks and surfaces. Missouri Equipment Company is committed to innovation and quality. Their USA-made products reflect unparalleled industry expertise with the highest standard for durability and reliability. Kate herself has 15 years experience in overseas manufacturing and global sourcing. For the last decade, she's thrilled to return home to the Midwest to produce quality products backed by strong warranties on USA soil. She's proudly serving in all facets of the business with a strong passion and commitment to domestic manufacturing to support economic mobility at both the state and national level. Please help me in welcoming our panelists. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. I wanted to make sure we had our little agreement that if I get off my timeline, you guys hold me accountable, and vice versa. We're all on the buddy system. We set this up beforehand. We're going to start with Art McCoy, and I have a question. We're going to try and keep these at 5 minutes per question, and then I'm going to roll through some different questions for other panelists. Art, it's no secret that the latest generation of graduates is exploring more alternate career and education pathways. News outlets like Forbes and the Wall Street Journal have even called Generation Z the tool belt generation. With your expertise, Art, what do you think is driving this change?
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and it's great to be with Ranken and with my good friend Poe, who's doing an amazing job as a leader. I would like to say the pandemic helped to spur the beginning of alternative paths towards learning. It was an opportunity for individuals to ultimately go home and reset their whole life and say, what do I want to really do? Secondly, it allowed for online education to just burst off the scenes because everybody was on Zoom, Team, Google Meets, Google, and as well as other platforms. I would say, lastly, the pandemic forced us to get back to John Dewey's principle of learning by doing. I love the Go and See title that was mentioned because I'm like, wow, that's a great model of, you want to go see the best, and they're saying, come see us. So people did that during the pandemic. They took that time that they had at home and really got out the house and went to take nature walks and then eventually go see who they wanted to be, and they relearned life balance, work-life balance. So the second thing is attention span. Our brains have been rewired. We have more technology in our hands than people had access to ever before. We know more now than people knew in their entire lifetime just 100 years ago. And so the access to technology has caused us to have a 5-minute attention span. You need a commercial, you need a laugh, you need a break, you need something to change things up. But also it's allowed us to access the best speakers, the best how-to videos. Adrian, if you watch the how-to video on YouTube to fix something, that would answer the question. When people see cool things happening, cool things attract people to it, and they want to be a part of it. Lastly, I would say, the pathways to prosperity, which was something at Harvard I was part of, but it was learning how to really make your whole life engineered around your passions. Generation Z wants to make a difference immediately. They don't want to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They want to do purpose-driven work. They want work-life balance, and they want high pay like they've been there for 30 years. But ultimately, those are the drivers of a new class, new generation of people who are not afraid of technology, grew up with tablets, and ultimately have been inspired to go out and do something.
Thank you very much, Art. I appreciate that. Dawn, our next question is for you. As the next generation expresses interest in vocational training and alternative degrees, there's an ongoing debate about the value of hands-on hard skills development, soft skills classroom learning, which is most valuable for the next generation of the technical workforce. Dawn, what's Ranken's position in this debate, and how have you seen hard and soft skills play a role in technical workforce development over your 20 years plus at Ranken?
Sure, that's a great question. And in fact, I think Todd answered this absolutely wonderfully when he was giving his keynote address. Ultimately here at Ranken Technical College, our stance is that there shouldn't be a debate, right? We know that every one of our programs, we carry that program mission out with a 3-part educational formula. Yes, technical skills is 1/3, and that's very important. You've got to have employees who are technically competent and have the technical skills. However, we also know that industry wants employees who are well-rounded, right? They want employees who can read, write, and communicate. So those general education skills are just as important. And thirdly, most importantly, are those soft skills, or what we call here at Ranken, work ethic. So we know that every one of our graduates has successfully demonstrated the technical skills, the general education skills, and the work ethic skills. And we define work ethic as those employability skills that every employer wants in an employee. We actually have 5 core work ethic traits here at Ranken that include professionalism, positive attitude and approach, respect for workplace structure, the ability to get along with others, and of course honesty. And our students have to successfully complete, and I encourage you to look at their transcripts, they have to successfully complete the technical skills, the general education skills, and more importantly, those soft skills or work ethic skills to successfully graduate from Ranken. And I think those 3 things make graduates and, of course, employees well-rounded.
Thank you very much, Don. I know we've had a lot of conversations around that, and I just wanted to add, I think that when you see how organized it is, that really gives you a sense of how organized the mind is. If you're out there in industry, nobody has patience for 20 minutes looking for the right tool. That doesn't work. So appreciate your perspective and your attention on that. Also I would say that I call those soft skills a lot of times, and we've done this in our conversations as well, I call those the opportunity skills. I mean, it's awesome that you know how to run the machine, how do you run the team, how do you integrate, what can you do? I tell people, they say, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and I say, no, you're only as strong as your own personal ability to put your greatest weakness out there, because your team can't cover you if you don't know yourself. So it's good to see those skills in Ranken. Kate.
Yes.
You have more than a decade of experience in manufacturing and sourcing all over the world. With that perspective, are there any themes, the obstacles or opportunities you see here in St. Louis compared to other places in the world? And do you have any predictions about what we might see in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, that's a good question, Mark. But I think, this is very timely point in our history to talk about manufacturing domestically. Of course, St. Louis is known forever as a manufacturing hub. We've got away from it. We need to get back to it. There are so many advantages of being domestic, not just for economic mobility, but these are real good jobs here, and we can create a better economy is what we're trying to do. But overseas challenges, the supply chain issues, global, factors we're all aware of, that's been happening in the last few years. This has never been a better time to be back stateside, that's for sure. Next 5 years, let's look at the next 3 years. The next year is going to be really interesting. 10 years is going to be tough too. I hope 10 years manufacturing is bolstering. We're working with schools like Ranken's, the different tech schools. We actually want to go to the high schools. We want to start really organically bringing these people in, and we will train them. That's part of it. This is a holistic, big picture thing. It's not one solution driver. Like, where's the crystal ball you were talking about? It's not there. And Elliot, if you have any siblings, send them my way. But really, it's an exciting time to be domestically producing. That's for sure.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you. I think with the opportunity skills too, what we talked about earlier, if you look at it as a job, that's one thing. If you look at it as opportunity skills, then you're not constrained to any one area of the business. You actually learn how to run the business.
Right.
So I like your perspective, and I like the breadth of experience you bring to that role now as a leader and as an owner. I don't know, what do you think? Should we ask Corey a question? Corey, good to see you. Similar to attracting new talent, business innovation is also essential to grow the manufacturing industry in and around St. Louis. What role does AMEC St. Louis play in making St. Louis a hub for manufacturing businesses? And what innovations are you seeing in our industry through your ongoing work and the ongoing work in AMEC?
Well, Mark, first off, thanks, and thanks to Ranken just for the honor of being here today amongst these colleagues. So when I think about that, 3 things come to mind. First, on a role that AMEC and other organizations can play. First, it's about collaboration. Business innovation happens in a collaborative environment. Industry to workforce providers, industry to research universities. Multi-sector, aerospace and defense, automotive, biotech, ag tech. When you get that cross-section of entities and people coming together, that's when some magic can happen. So we provide that bridge, or a convener role, if you will. Secondly, though, is access. Let's face it, manufacturing R&D can be capital intensive. So just like St. Louis makes, right? Providing space, state-of-the-art equipment, subject matter expertise to lower that barrier for smaller companies to come in, take advantage of, and perform their own research and development. And then I think the third thing is actually performing research and development. We do that in a couple of ways. One, directly with industry. 2, we partner with research universities and industry in pursuit of R&D grants. And then third, as a partnership model inside of the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center, we are in the process of defining and will be executing an overall advanced manufacturing R&D strategic roadmap. When you talk about what kind of innovations we see, and we could go on forever, but given the time frame that we have, certainly, and Todd, you mentioned several as well, certainly 3D printing, additive manufacturing, it's always right on the cusp, right? But we see it more now, just even not in end products, but in also marrying it up with traditional processes. 3D print a casting mold and then cast it, right? To lower that cost and get more efficient in how we do those operations. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is pushing digital, pushing automation all the way to the edge. And Elliot, I love what you do at Toyota. Everything from predictive maintenance on our equipment, minimizing downtime on our equipment to become more efficient in our operations, digitizing all of our processes, again, so we can be efficient there. Those are just a couple of things, but I tell you, that whole area of digital forward is truly transformative.
Thank you very much. I think that one of the things that I think about as well when I think about the work that you're doing is you're pulling together a lot of what we have in the region that we, because it's in our background, in our backyard rather, we don't recognize and call out to the rest of the world as much. I liken our neighborhood to being, I don't know another city this size that has the depth that we have in manufacturing, and I don't know another city of this size that has the breadth that we have. We have everything from food and consumer goods all the way through to boat. I was at a conference, a national conference one time, and somebody was talking, and like an economic developer was talking about how good their market was. And I said, I don't think you know the impact that the secondary and even the tertiary supply chain of Boeing pushes into our market. I don't care what you're working on. I could find people in the tertiary supply chain that could re-engineer it before lunch. We have a marketplace that hits quality levels that the rest of the world, if you blind taste tested St. Louis and said, hey, here's AMIC, but you don't know it's in St. Louis, and here are the metrics we can hit as a manufacturing base, people would think we were twice the size we are, and they think probably that we were in Boston, sitting on campus at MIT.
Yeah.
Like, we really knock it out of the park here. Because we grow up around it, we just accept it, and we just sort of downplay it. But the reality is that it's a global, we are the Silicon Valley of manufacturing.
We have such a rich foundation, but we can no longer be that best kept secret, right? We've got to then build on that and expand upon that, because to your point, we have just tremendous resources and experience right here in the region.
I was talking to one of the fathers at SLU one time, and I said, the problem that SLU has, I said, it's a blessing and a curse. And I knew him well enough that he set me up for the joke. And I said, well, the blessing is the quality of the education is top notch. Oh, yes, Mark, you're right. I said, the downside of that is that as Jesuits and as St. Louisans and Midwesterners, you're so modest that you don't let anyone know. And I think that applies across our entire industry, not just our education.
Well
Thank you for your perspectives. I now have some questions for all of the panelists, and we will start here. We'll head that direction. Start that direction.
Whoever jumps on it, let's see.
We'll see who jumps on this. Here is question number 1. AI is a hot topic right now, but when people think about traditional technical careers like carpentry, construction, or manufacturing, AI and trades might seem like oil and water. But we know the opposite is actually true. Panelists, how are you all seeing AI show up in this industry?
We're seeing it more in the front of the house, so to speak, with sales and marketing, accounting, things like that can help for us at this point. We're still very hands-on, intensive, not so much with the robotics and things like that, but AI is helping on the front side.
But that flows into the back of the house.
It sure does.
Like now you have more demands from customers that are deeper and more pointed.
We're touching customers faster, quicker. Our ability to hit market is intensified because of it.
Of course, again, here at Ranken, we actually represent 5 core traits, if you will. When I say 5 core traits, manufacturing, construction, electrical, information technology, and automotive. So out of all of those industries, we're seeing AI, it's there. It's interjected within all. And you mentioned construction. I see Mark Turnbull out there in the audience with modular building systems. And of course, that's a whole, changing the construction industry on end, right? And changing how it works. But we're also seeing, for example, as you get into a situation where you're looking at making data-driven decisions, and there's more data that you're collecting, whether it be on the manufacturing facility or from the people, doesn't matter. Well, now, how are you going to track that or protect that data from a cybersecurity, right? So we're seeing a lot of our industry saying, yes, our carpenters do need information technology skills, but our electricians need, mechanical skills and information technology skills. So we're seeing a lot of the skills that were traditionally in those types or those silos that I mentioned before, they're crossing over. And we're seeing those technicians that need to be multi-skilled, multi-crafted that are including AI, innovation, data-driven technologies. Art?
One of the things I have the pleasure of doing is leading St. Louis Works, or STL Works. It's a component of workforce under the Regional Business Council, which has about 100 members in the region of large businesses like Boeing, MyTech, Legacy Pharmaceuticals, and other advanced manufacturing companies, trade companies, Perrick, McCarthy, so forth. So AI, this very bow tie I'm wearing was created by students. They used AI to actually design what gears would look like, to say he's always thinking, and they used AutoCAD to program a printer to actually laser cut the wood and so forth. That's one way. So for creativity. Secondarily speaking, prompt engineering. So I'm on the board of Cybersecurity Center, Gateway Cybersecurity Center. We train students, access point train students that are straight from high school, and then we send them to down to finish off those training skills. But ultimately, they don't know how to code, and we used to focus on C++, or Java, and so forth. Well, now you just you can type into AI and give me the language in Python of XYZ, and then students can study the code. They can cut and paste the code into what's needed to do a back-end website or other marketing ventures and so forth. But it's a teaching tool and an action tool. And I'll last say, marketing and the front end, the business end is being accelerated just exponentially through AI. I had the pleasure of working with Dave Stewart, and we helped to create an AI company called AstroView, and it basically is making life paths for students. It's like a GPS for navigating the student's life if they put in the data, and the AI kind of says, this is what you're closest to, this is what your skill set is, this is what your aptitude is, here's a business right next door to you that you have no clue of, go to them, see them, ask this person for this information, and take an internship. You don't have to go to college. They'll pay for your tuition reimbursement is nearly at all companies. That's how AI is being used by businesses for marketing and in high schools right now that are cutting edge using those technologies.
Well, now I know. So Dr. McCoy, and as long as I've known him, is always the best dressed in the room. So I've got to learn the 3D print bow tie. So I can go with you there. Let me just give you two examples on the manufacturing, and we touched on a couple of them. But first, it starts very early in the design process, right? And design for manufacturing, using AI-enabled machine learning tools to come alongside engineers so that we can design not just a product, but design for manufacturing. And I touched a little bit on automation, robotics, cobotics, et cetera. But let me give you one other very interesting example, and that is open-air 3D printing, multiple robots, but fine finishing at the exact same time based on real-time learning of what the sensors see on the robotic arms to manufacture large products in a manner that we haven't seen before. All AI-based, and Don, you touched on it, data-driven. Throughout every step of the manufacturing process, it always gets back to the data and manipulating and understanding and utilizing that data.
Thank you. I think the other thing that I would just add to all of those remarks is that while the AI tools, particular conversations that I've had with Kay are important on the front end of the business and on the back end of the business, to build on what Todd said, if you don't have team members that know how to interpret that, if you don't have team members that know how to use that as a group, you're still going to be stuffed. It's going to be difficult for you. So the reality is that all things that are old are new again. Collaboration is really hot right now. Learning how to work with others and learning how to think strategically and be a leader in that respect to use the AI tools in the first place. So.
Mark, if I could, use and embrace,
yes.
Right? Let's don't be afraid of it. Let's embrace it, and how can I use this to do a better job, more efficiently, whatever it might be. So I think you're exactly right.
Embracing it beyond, when I first heard of artificial intelligence, I thought, what? That's some relatives who said intelligence is kind of artificial. That's not what they were talking about. Thank you all very much for those answers. Our next question here. Despite growing interest in technical education and career opportunities, the stigma of the trades persists as a barrier for many people. Panelists, what has your experience been as a professional in this industry? What would you say to a young person hesitant of the technical careers stereotype? Don't all jump at once. I'll pick on people.
Yeah, I'm starting.
Thank you.
So I believe that was true past generation, millennials, Xers, possibly boomers. I believe that the stigma is passed on through parents and grandparents, but not to the current Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta. It's coming your way, and they're, my Lord. They already have a stick because they're beta. No. so I would say it is cool to be the makers. It's cool to be the doers. It's cool to digitize something and then make it an idea come to life. And the current 10-year-olds through 20-year-olds through almost 30-year-olds believe it's cool, but how do I get in, or I don't know it. That's on one end. Let me put it this way. Harvard has been named the most expensive technical college in America, and people were figuring out, I don't know if I want to pay that expense. But to hear that language, as an educator, we never heard that language when I was, 5th grade and up. Now, it's reversed because we realize the importance of technical training. I'll say this. Everything you said, Mark, and I love opportunity skills, is spot on. We call it power skills to the students today. If you want individual power in your life, if you want individual power for your family, like a means to a living wage and so forth, then learn to speak standard English. Learn to take the initiative to say, I will try the new technology, and not just try it, but embrace it. Learn to show up early and look your best, because our organizations are only as good as its people. And if the people have the power to show up, be ready, and be present, and not look at their phone and text, and have transportation to get there on time, the Toyota Corolla's my first car, then you'll have the power to have your family move forward. So I believe that we have to pull what we see so often in politics, and that is amnesia to the downward draft of the past, and use positive language for the future, because youth are ready to embrace doing stuff with their hands. Since the pandemic, still 10% of children have not come back to physical school because they say, I can go straight to industry, websites, and so to put my thoughts to work. So that's my take on that.
I would agree on the approach and the opportunity language. I mean, I think that when young people look and they think, well, I can only become a business owner if I go to some kind of traditional path, that's kind of crazy. I mean, like, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, it takes you 5 times so long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Mark, if I wanted to just pull on something that Dr. McCoy said, and just 2 other just very quick additional thoughts. One, and I think it's incumbent upon all of us here to, as a region, promote those opportunities, create awareness on what is going on, and that it is cool to make things again, right? And I think that's all of us need to embrace and be a part of that. But I also think we need to start very, very early. High school is too late. Most of the research shows that they're starting to understand what they want to go into in middle school and before. So as opposed to high school, we need to talk K through 12 and creating those opportunities to come in and just have fun. Let me go in and use a 3D printer and make something. Let me go in and just whatever it might be, right? Just create those opportunities earlier and earlier to excite them about those future opportunities.
I remember sitting in a meeting that we had set up. I think, Dawn, you were there. I know you were there. And Stan and myself, we were with the leadership from Essex and from Willard. And one of the 2 companies looked at you or looked at Dawn and said, well, we want to engage your students as soon as they start on their first day. How do we hire them? And Stan just laughs, looks at him, and goes, you're too late. And that was it, period. High school's too late. You got to get this integrated into elementary school education or it's not going to happen. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm keeping myself honest here. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I have a question that I want to start with Dawn, just because of your role in education here at the college. Data shows that 44% of employers globally estimate the skills they need their employees to have will be disrupted by 2028, which is, just to make sure we're clear, that's basically tomorrow.
Yeah.
How are you seeing companies prepared to navigate this heightened skills gap, especially since all we've been talking about for the last 20 years is the skills gap that's now getting worse? And what roles do institutions like Ranken play in helping to bridge that gap?
That's a great question. And, there's companies like Toyota that are very forward-thinking and a lot of you out in the audience represent companies that are very forward-thinking, that realize that, yeah, a lot of the skills that you all need are not even thought of right now today, right? I joke a lot of times, but it's like the students in most of our programs, are 2 years in length as far as those are long programs, and what we teach on day one is already obsolete by the time they graduate. So you're right. You do have to integrate those students into real-world work and industry right away. And we know the best way to train for work is to use real-world work here at Ranken, and we've got several different educational models that do that. However, Todd mentioned earlier the crystal ball. So how does an institution like Ranken, you all are our crystal ball. And what I mean by that is, we're here teaching skills, doing the education thing, but at the end of the day, that's got to service you. That's got to work to prepare the students that you are employing. I hear a lot of industry that they hire somebody and the first thing they do is they retrain them. If you're having to retrain the workforce, then the educational institution that you're partnering with just isn't doing a very good job, right? And clearly, we want to do a good job. So when you see those skills or when you hear of those skills, let us know what we can do to help you. Let us know what we can do to make sure that those skills are there. And you're right, at an early age, middle schools, we run summer camps on, just to introduce kids to some of these things like robotics and programmable logic controllers, and control systems technology, and instrumentation and process control. A lot of times kids have never even heard of that. So getting them exposed early and then making sure that we're talking to industry on a continuous basis. It can't be, the days of, we meet once a year and we talk about what next year should be is over. It's got to be a regular communication and finding out what you need and then us delivering on that need.
I think that one of the things, too, that I've said, and you've heard me say a number of times for a number of years, is that in communicating all of that, there's almost, in the educational institutions, there's a need to communicate that or to sell that to parents. They might not be making the decision as a kid, but they sure are influencing it. And when they see that Junior can come out and have a role as a potential owner, all of a sudden, that's a paradigm shift. That's no longer traditional punch the rubber stamp onto the paper and go do what everybody's done because that's just what you feel you have to do. That's a game changer.
You're absolutely right. And to go on to that, there's industry time and then a lot of times there's education time, right? And it's like, education, yeah, tell us what you need, and in 2 years you'll see the result. That just can't happen, right? You've got to make that change swiftly and quickly so that the students and the employees that you're getting they have it right away. So yeah, it's very important, and you're right. Starting to talk about and highlighting students such as Elliot, how they're moving up the ladder. I think it's important that students understand, you may start here, but you keep raising your hand, and you will be there. The opportunities are really endless.
I remember one time we were sitting in a meeting with Stan 10 years ago, and I said, like with four-year institutions, you measure the endowment, and people take that as a sign of health of the institution. And I said, what does that look like in technical schools? And Stan just kind of looks over at the wall, and he goes, or one of you guys did, he said, who's like the number two? I said, I think that might be Dunwoody up in Minneapolis. They probably have a few $1 million. I said, where's Ranken sitting? Well, we're north of 100 million. The point is that we've got a research institution here on the technical side that other cities would literally kill for. Like, it's mind-blowing. Dr. McCoy, I want to pose the same question to you, and then we're going to bounce to another question and start with Kate. So, Kate, you can start psyching yourself out now. Dr. McCoy, if we can get your perspective on that. As an educator, as a parent, as a community leader.
So, I think Don did a great job on that question. My mind went to AT&T's CEO. He said, any employee that's not on our AT&T University getting a new skill will be fired or laid off. And so, as a superintendent of schools at that time, I then took Don's philosophy and said, I have to re-engineer preschool through 10th grade to be what industries need, so that the skills today that a third grader is doing by making a birdhouse, which is what we had our students do in third grade, second grade, measuring and drawing it out, fifth grade, a shed, sixth grade, little portable libraries, because literacy is still important, but build the libraries to go mobile. By the time the kids have gotten to high school, the skills that are 2028, you may be just starting, but they had all the skills from 2025 and 2024. Plus, they had brand recognition of your companies. They had a person from your company speak to them about what college they went to, or that they didn't go to college and what they started doing in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, and who they met, who they connected with, that got them the scholarship or got them a job, how much money they made. That's brand recognition for, so the motto is awareness for elementary, exposure for middle school, and so you bring people to elementary and they do stuff. Exposure for middle school, field trips, hands-on experience for high school. We pass them to Don to then get more summer experiences, technical training from them, and then go to work for you to be prepared. So that the iteration has to be sped up, essentially. So since we're in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, everybody knows that. So we've talked about it here: animation, digitization, automation, machine learning, and AI. That's it. The speed in which we do this has to move at this, not the speed of government, which is what we used to do, not even the speed of business, which is what most schools fail to do and what we did pretty well, but now the speed of the need, because your need is shifting every second, be it tariffs or expiring tax cuts or whatever that's increasing costs. And so the speed of the need for efficiency is huge. And so basically starting early to get those skills and having a reset, a reteach every 2 years. But I gave my high school hours away. I made sure that our students packed in 9 classes per semester. Traditional is 6 to 7, so that the junior and senior year could be used entirely with learning and earning, going out to you and doing apprenticeships, and then fine-tuning those skills at a Ranken to get those other skills that may require more education and then be ready to go. Doing that, we had 100% graduation for 5 years, 97% for this 1 year, because one kid got locked up and he had to drop out. And he got his GED, but he didn't come through me. But ultimately, 100% in a job, 60% in a job, 30%, 35% in a college, and then the rest in military. But they were getting industry recognized credentials as juniors and seniors, Power 2 certification, OSHA 15 and OSHA 30 as a junior and senior, CNA license as a junior and senior, and they were coming to you ready to work as an 18-year-old or finish up that degree for a higher level entry pay. And my high school students were making $25 an hour, working in Perrick, Aparici, companies in the trades and in advanced manufacturing. But ultimately, it took a reverse engineering of the education system. If we had a crystal ball, which I think we do when you're working with Gen Beta, because I can tell you what's coming your way already 10 years away, as far as the who, the people, which is your greatest expense. But the bottom line is re-engineer every school district to realize that the best education is getting out into the places to experience the workforce, as well as civic education, like engagement in government.
I appreciate that very much. The one thing that I would add that I hear in what you're saying is that some of those young people ultimately become business owners. The profound impact that has, that catches everybody's attention. I was sitting, I got asked to speak at a high school class down in Jefferson County, and the kids were screwing around in the back of the room, because that's what kids do, right? And I said, I know a guy, he's still in his 20s, and the owner came into work one day and said, hey, I'm not coming back to yours to him the keys. All of a sudden, the 2 guys that had been screwing around trying to be the biggest clowns in the back of the room, one of them, as articulately as you could possibly ask, said, could you please explain an earn-in to me again? They get it when you speak the right language, but it catches their attention. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Kate, so just make sure that we're clear. Corey, you're in the batter's box. You get this question next, and then we're gonna go some freestyle here. So in particular, as a smaller manufacturing company, Upskilling the existing workforce is a hot topic as our industry works through skills gaps. According to a Manufacturing Institute survey, nearly 70% of manufacturers are addressing the workforce crisis by creating and expanding internal training programs. What are your thoughts on that? What examples do you have on that?
Sure.
And I would say, how has that impacted all of the business, not just the production flow, but anything that touches it?
Sure, great question. For sure, we're manufacturers, we're makers, so we make our people into what they are. So I have a great example. I have a guy that's worked for us for about 7 years on this year. Great guy, timely, shows up, raises his hand, asking questions. And we have a guy in the engineering CAD department retiring. So I approached him, I said, what do you think about coming in and doing a little CAD, a little SolidWorks? I'll train you, we'll get you all the skills you need. And, I'm in. They love it. And now what that creates, everyone on the floor now has an opportunity to do anything else they want to do. So we are really, it's so true. Our power is the people, the collaboration, all that. The hardest part as employers sometimes is finding the right spot for the people. So that's my responsibility. If you're not in the right spot, well, that's on me, and I'll get you there. So for us, it's all about, we will invest whatever it takes because we do have that big gap. I love that. I'm super excited to see what you guys are going to start pumping into my organization and other businesses around me because we need that desperately. But in the meantime, we don't have time. So we're doing, and we are just, yesterday, right? We can't go fast enough. So
I love that story, and I was smiling because I was thinking, if I admit that I'm going to plagiarize, is it still plagiarizing when I say that it sounds like what you have is a culture of raising your hand?
we do. Yes. We do.
Thank you very much. I particularly love hearing that story from a smaller business because we've had this conversation many times before. No offense, but it's not Boeing, and resources have to be parsed out differently as a result. If you think about where we are now as a society, we almost have this notion that you can't start a business unless you go through some kind of approved entrepreneurship program. And the reality is what you just described is literally teaching someone how to run a business. What Todd described for a large corporation, but you want to learn how to run a business, just go follow Todd around and keep raising your hand until he gets you out of his way and gives you the things you need to do.
Exactly.
You'll learn how to run a business.
And your people have the answers. Your people have the answers. Talking to Leah before, we were talking about tariffs and all of impact on steel and all what's going on. She goes, well, we have a whole team who are studying the tariffs. I don't have a whole team studying tariffs. We are studying the tariffs, so it's just, I can't do it alone. I have to lean on everybody else. So that's the fun thing about a small business is you get to wear many hats and there's nowhere to hide. So you get to get right in.
The nowhere to hide quote is great. I love that. Corey, we're going to bounce to you for a couple of minutes. Same question. We've got less than 3 minutes.
I can just say ditto. That was well said. I would foot stomp maybe just a couple of things. One, there has to be that urgency. Just look even demographically right now. The National Association of Manufacturers predicts 5 million job openings in the U.S. alone in the next couple of years. So demographically, we have that urgency. But the technology that we've talked about is driving that need for upskilling. And Don, I think you said it well. We have to migrate from education time to the urgency of now and beyond even business time, to your point. So I wanted to foot stomp that. But really, I think and Todd, you said it so well. Folks and our teams, they want those opportunities. They will raise their hand. We need to create and foster and build that culture to provide those opportunities. And when those opportunities exist, the people will raise their hand, look at Elliot, look at you, and that's the best way, as opposed to forcing, that's the best way that can happen.
I appreciate that perspective very much from both of you, flanking two opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of size. Perspective. We literally have 60 seconds for freestyle. So in 1 or 2 words or less, we could Kate the floor, and if it goes to 25, I'm German, so we're shutting it down at 25. Any final thoughts? 1 sentence still ask.
Just manufacturing right now is the most exciting place to be in industry, I think. And, you know, when I have people down for factory tours and everybody's, you know, look around, you know, this is so exciting. I mean, these are real, you're making things, you're producing things, whether it's part of the supply chain, welding position, whatever it is, there's something for everybody to do. And I hope everybody from kindergarten level through Ranken through grad school is circling back to what manufacturing, where the industry is, because there's plenty for you to do.
I'm going to make the call on your behalf. You're not going to beat what Kate said.
So,
It's 10:25.
Yeah.
So I wanted to thank you guys in the audience for joining us, for your learning, for your opportunity to be here, for the perspectives that we were able to share.